The Guns on Pegs podcast is brought to you by ITAP Group. Hello and welcome to the Guns on Pegs podcast. My name is George Brown.
My name is Avian.
It's Jake.
And it is Sam.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we going?
Yeah,
Bloody
not too
good,
bad.
mate. Yeah. Apart from continual, endless, never-ending bloody rain.
No, we've
Yes.
had 2 dry days
You had two, we only had one.
and, dare I say it, a little bit of sunshine.
Good Lord.
Bloody hell.
Honestly, we've cut the lawn here in Suffolk.
Yeah,
That's
I've
how
cut
good
a
the
little bit of
sunshine's
grass.
been. Yeah.
That'll never end, though, will it?
I didn't know they made aquatic lawnmowers, amphibious lawnmowers.
Yeah, it's nice to see the sun out again, though, isn't it? There's that moment you kind of just stand there and you're like, oh, that's where you've been.
You know it's been bad though, don't you? Because the other day I'd been out and done the animals when it was dark, and then came back in. Girls were getting ready for nursery, and I was upstairs, and then I hear my oldest, she's about to turn 4, shouting, "Look outside, Daddy! Look at that outside!" And I'm thinking, oh, someone's escaped. Is there someone who's going to make my quad? What's going on? So I go running downstairs, and she stood on the windowsill going, "It's the sun." I thought, yeah, we haven't seen that in a day or two.
So we've got the Winterbourne is up, which means that the bottom of one of our fields is flooded. But I don't know if any of you saw Andy Ford's Scribehound piece. I think it was earlier this week. About the water meadows in Salisbury and the drowners, and how the way back when they dug channels and what have you to deliberately flood the water meadows by the cathedral to provide phenomenal grazing earlier on in the year, which then sort of drove an incredible cheese industry in that neck of the woods and all this kind of stuff. It's a really fascinating article about sort of water table management.
Well, my brother's, he's in Winchester. They're sort of over the road, main road from you. They're down by the playing fields.
Yeah.
And I know where they walk the dogs there. There are all the channels through there that keep them a little nervous at times. And I think that's where, I don't know if they're still going, but the chap had it was at the old watercress fields, wasn't he? He had the Twisting Nose gin.
Yes, I think they are still going. Yeah, I think they are. Yeah. I mean, water meadows are fascinating, and the chalk streams in particular. They're over time they have been sort of canalized and turned into mill races, and just generally straightened out. But particularly in this neck of the woods, they would typically have been these sort of braided channels, lots of little braided channels rather than one main bit of river. There's a chap in Norfolk, Charles Rangeley Wilson, who's sort of Mr. Chalk Streams. He has been re-wiggling, I can't remember which river it is now, but doing all kinds of incredible sort of geological surveys to work out where the original channel was, and he reckons it was probably first diverted by the Romans.
Yes,
and trying to work out, based on what plants are growing and all this stuff, where the proper original channels ought to have been, and then getting the diggers in and dropping trees in and all this stuff. It's a super cool project.
I've seen some of the work they're doing, and they call it re-wooding the rivers, I think, don't they? Where
Large woody debris.
Yes, and they're making it goes back to the old pools and creates the reds for the breeding, and a lot more sort of grubs and beetles and bugs go in the river. Fascinating stuff, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, really cool. Right, chaps, shall we have a drink?
Yeah, it's over the yard arm, isn't it?
Jake, kick us off. What's that you're drinking?
Right. Okay, chaps. Gone local. But you'll have to tell me if this is also supermarket beer, because it's from the Green King Brewery, which is in Bury St Edmunds, just down the road, and it's an Icebreaker Pale Ale. So a lot of you will be familiar with it. It comes in a pub. It comes in a can. come
It
to the
comes in a
test.
pub. I'd like one of those.
You just take that off the supermarket shelf, do you?
Well, I think it was left here from someone that came round at Christmas. Probably a very good reason for it. But yeah, just an icebreaker. And once I get through this, I've poured myself a good measure of the spirit of British mischief, gin and debonnaire again, because that was really quite nice. So yeah, not too bad an evening. Samuel, I can see something that is luminous in front of the camera there, which is great for an audio podcast. But what's that you're drinking, buddy?
So, in my optimistic spring has sprung excitement,
The grass is Riz.
Yeah, I thought I'd have a go at cocktail making, and I have made the classic Sunshine, which is white rum, dry vermouth, a dash of grenadine, and pineapple juice, all to a very strict recipe detailed in ounces. But I don't know how to measure ounces, so
you don't have a jigger.
I've free poured my classic Sunshine. I think I've put too much grenadine in it, so it might be disgusting. Also got 10 of London Pride.
I mean, obviously, this is an audio medium, and we always do this. But what did you say it was called?
A classic Sunshine.
Classic. So it looks like Sunny Delight and creosote from here.
It doesn't taste dissimilar.
Avian, get us back on track.
Okay, I am trying. We went up to see a friend the other day, just over the border into Devon in Holsworthy, and he took us to his local brewery, the Holsworthy Brewery, who did some fantastic beers. But I saw on the counter there, Dave's Super Dry Cider. So as I'm obviously nearly at bottling our hooch, which we'll come on to in a little bit, I thought it was probably a good chance to check out the competition. Now, I have been warned that this is about as dry can possibly be. I'm going to give it a go, and it is, oh, Jesus, it's 7%. I wasn't aware of that when I bought it.
And who is Dave?
Well, Dave is the master brewer, and I must admit his IPA is absolutely fantastic. Holsworthy Brewery, if you get the chance to go up there, it's fantastic. And they've got a tap room in an old cow shed next to the brewery.
Lovely.
And it's really good because there aren't that many pubs left in our area anymore. And this has really become like a local community hub. And whilst we were there having a few beers, so many people locally were coming in couples, and the kids were in and out, and it was just brilliant. And it did make me think that if, without being too political, if our current government succeeds in killing off the local pub, it seems there's an underground fight back movement, and I think small brewery taps will be the way.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think the world needs more rural tap rooms. Tap rooms became quite a big thing in London, for example. 5 or probably a bit longer ago than that, maybe sort of 10 years ago or so. You couldn't move for tap rooms in old railway arches and this sort of stuff. But I think that's a great idea.
I think what it shows is that, we went through the whole gastropub thing, and then pubs had to have a theme, and they had to serve you ostrich on a shovel and all this sort of nonsense. But I think what we're seeing is people going back to the absolute basics, which is community spirit, good company, good locally made beer, and a bag of salt and vinegar. That's all you need to have a really good evening and spend time with people. And they're drafty cow sheds, and it's perfect.
Well, exactly. And the good thing about a tap room is you don't have to be open all the time.
Yep.
So you keep your costs down. And you just, the other thing about a tap room is nobody expects there to be a vast range of drinks, right? So I think one of the challenges of running a pub is you've got to have a flaming wine list and
a coffee machine and herbal tea and
all this stuff, and 1,000 different mixers and a great shelf of spirits at the back and all this stuff. But if you go, no, listen, we're a brewery, we do beer. Yeah. And, we'll have one rosé and one red wine option, and that's it. And they'll be drinkable, but they won't be anything special.
I mean, it goes back to the origins of the British pub, doesn't it? Everybody in the village, there used to be 3 or 4 people who'd make a brew.
Mm.
And when their brew was ready, they'd put their sign out saying the brew's ready, and people would go and drink what they had. And when they drunk that, the next one would be ready.
I was listening to some podcast or another, and they were talking about the origins of surnames.
Mhm.
And obviously you have brewer and brewster. But what a brewer is, well, either brewer or brewster, can't remember which way around it is a lady brewer, and the other is a chap who's a brewer.
Fascinating.
Which I hadn't. Yeah.
It's 2026. You wouldn't be allowed to say that, no.
I read somewhere a while back
/men
that
brewer.
the origin of the witch with the cauldron and the pointy hat was in northern Germany. Most of the brewers were female, and the hat was a traditional garment for the brewer to wear. And when their brew was ready, the pot would come out, and the pointy hat was put out as the signal that their brew was ready.
Oh, that's some good, not quite folklore. I like it.
Folkish lore, I think, isn't it?
Folkish lore, yes.
So why did they start burning them at the stake then?
They started making lager.
Yeah, they were trying to make cocktails, probably. So.
Sold out to Tesco's.
Well, I must admit, Dave's super dry cider, it has something of the Sarson's vinegar about it. There's a bit of a bite, but it's pretty damn good. It's flat. It is dry as the Sahara, but very nice. I don't think I'll finish it all at 7%. No, clear as a bell.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
What do you mean you won't finish it at all? It's almost empty, man.
Yeah. No, I haven't poured it all in the glass. God, you uncouth Newmarket lot. I don't know. Chuck it in, drink it from the can. George, what are you drinking? Rescue us.
Well, I've gone local as well. I have got a trusted favourite from the Flower Pots Brewery, which I've spoken about before, Perridge Pale.
Mm-hmm.
It's another pale ale like Jake's, and it is extremely drinkable. Very nice indeed.
Yeah, that is nice.
Right, Avian, give us the cider update.
Very quick, very short. It is still settling. I've sent a message off to Tom. I'm hoping diaries will collide and we'll get up there next week and get it bottled. So, yeah, we'll find out then. D-Day.
It's exciting. I mean,
it is. I'm a nervous wreck. It could be bloody awful, but anyway, it is what it is. I can't wait.
Well, number one, it hasn't exploded.
That I'm aware of, yes. It hasn't rotted the plastic out of the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. And you can still go in the garage and, not die from vapors or anything.
Absolutely. I've actually transported it up to the cidery. Which is why it's had to settle, because I took it up there and drove as gingerly as I possibly could. It was like I was transporting firstborn babies and nitroglycerin. But it's still, when I got there, it looked like Southwest Water's latest outflow. So it's had to sit for a couple of weeks to let all the sediment settle down. But Tom, bless him, he's been very, very positive, and he's got a range of bottles for us to try. So we're going to try and re-sugar some and put it in champagne bottles and have a light sparkling.
So very sort of Normandy cider.
Absolutely. I don't think we're going to freeze the necks, but he said we could try if we wanted to. So yes, we are. We're going to put some traditionally in little plastic 5-litre jerry cans, because Cripplecock cider, that's how it was always done.
Yep.
And some just in ordinary bottles, beer bottles, flat, to try. So he's obviously got a lot more faith in my cider making skills than I have, but then he did grow the apples, so fingers crossed.
That's really cool.
I'm sure we'll all be terribly polite when we try it and say there's really nice Avian.
You won't.
I can guarantee I won't either. But where does it sit with if he's being that complimentary? I like the whole what you're doing making it, but where do you sit when you take it to competition? Like that's a bit I'm interested in. Like when you go to the Cornish show, what happens then? Do you know you're going to win beforehand type of thing? Is it?
No, absolutely no. So I've got to get the rules off him, but from what I understand, they're a typical country show. There are categories galore. So you can have dry bottled, sparkling bottled. You can have homebrew scrumpy and a demi-john. So it depends. I'll need to get some help from him in terms of which specific category in rank amateur do we enter. But then apparently everything is blind judged, so nothing has labels on, even the professional guys. It all goes into one hat, and they've got a range of judges from across the industry, and they come up with a supreme winner. But I think they then also do particular winners. If they go, well, this one wasn't too bad, but it's not great, and they go, it was made by Avian in a shed in a plastic bucket, they'll go, we'll give him a gold star then, a turning up award. So hopefully we might get something, unless health and safety get involved and food standards and tell us we can't even put it down the toilet.
Crikey. Everyone wins a prize.
Absolutely, turning up award.
Well, it's been a very fun. It's been really fun just sort of living it vicariously through you.
Yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to trying some. And do you know what I think we should do as a gesture of goodwill? I think perhaps we should send some to the Countryside boys. Well, I say a gesture of goodwill. It might turn out to be the exact opposite of that. But
yeah, might be a Trojan horse. If it's as strong as we think it might be, it'll certainly throw their bi-weekly podcasts off a little bit, won't it?
It will. But Avian, you've been writing about drinks and
yes.
Stuff on Scribehound recently.
Yes, I did a little bit the other day. I think, as Sam said, he had 2 days of sun. We had 1 day of sun down in Cornwall. I think it went to my head a little bit, and I suddenly got all tail up and ideas of spring and eventually summer. And it was really just the ideas of having a cold drink with friends outside in the sun, rather than huddling in a shed with a flask of weak tea and wondering when we can get back out in the slurry and the mud. So I've set myself a task to make 3 spring drinks, which I've put a little bit about in the article, but I want to make some gorse flower rum. I want to make some epine again, because I tried it last year and I didn't make nearly enough, so we're going to make a bit more of that.
Sorry, just to interrupt. So epine is the one that Tim Madams
absolutely
suggested in episode 2 of the Guns on Pegs podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think. And it's the one made from blackthorn leaves.
That's right.
Red
wine, brandy, and blackthorn leaves with a little bit of sugar. And it was that we had the distillery at the time, and so I thought, well, we'll give that a go. And it's absolutely amazing. It is so good. And on the back of that, we got in touch with Tim, and we ended up making
the Porth.
Yeah. Which he nearly got sued by the nation of Portugal over, and we had to hurriedly relabel it. Yeah, we made that with him.
Oh, you made it. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And I've still got.
I didn't know
I've
that.
got a couple of bottles of the original, with the original illegal labels on, which is secreted away in my museum of weird booze. But yeah, I made 1 bottle as a trial. Excuse me. And I wish I'd have made so much more, because it's brilliant. I think, didn't we have some at Iford for 11s?
I think we may well have done, yeah.
Well, you guys did. I didn't get any.
Well, that was the problem. There was only 1 bottle, and it didn't really do the rounds, I'm afraid. So I'm going to make half a dozen.
I interrupted you though. So your third one is going to be.
So the third one, it was a toss up between making elderflower champagne, but there's one I've seen recipes for on some of the American foraging boards. It's called a pine needle soda, and it looks like the easiest thing in the world.
A soft drink.
Softish. But I thought we could probably mix it with the gorse rum, so there's a get out of jail free there.
Okay, and tell us about the gorse rum quickly.
So gorse rum, take a white rum and put some gorse flowers in it and a bit of orange peel. It's about as simple as that. Takes probably a week for the gorse to come through, but gorse has a most amazing coconut flavour.
Oh wow!
So the idea is to try and get a rum for the summer that you can make a pina colada with.
Well, I was going to say, you're basically making Malibu. Yeah.
But not Malibu. Because I think Malibu is sort of petrol with Hawaiian tropic in it.
And it always makes me think of sun cream for some reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the rum selection, with your rum selection there, is it like when making sloe gin, buddy, where you just buy the cheapy stuff, or will it help if you buy a come on, I mean, you know, a bottle of Gordon's or Tesco Value? It's you know, when you're doing your slow gin, but you know, will the rum and the gorse, does it matter if you just go and buy the cheapest? Or
I think it does, and I think, you know, it's a bit I
Yeah.
said in the piece is, you know, good quality ingredients make good quality booze. So even with slow gin, without going completely overboard with some of these very delicate, very, you know, highly tuned gins, but a good quality gin will make a better slow gin than a dirt cheap off the supermarket shelf chemical gin. I mean, Gordon's is a damn good solid gin, but there are an awful lot of supermarket ones that have never seen a juniper berry, their essence, and they're just not good. But with the rum, I'm hoping there's a couple just over the border in Devon, two drifters who make the most amazing rums from scratch. They're a little bit pricey, but they are fruity. They've got those really good tropical fruit flavors, papaya and mango flavors in them. And it's, I think on online you can get one for around about 35 quid. Well, it's got to be better than Bacardi. And I think because you're not heaping sugar in it, there's a touch of orange, bit of gorse flour, nothing else. You really want a good spirit in the base of it if you're then going to make good cocktails with it.
Yeah, very
You
good
say
point.
that, but when I stood with my classic sunshine recipe in Tesco's and looked at the Tesco Value white rum and didn't go for that,
Good man,
and bought the more expensive one, it still tastes like shit.
I think
might be
that's
a bit
more
solid.
about controlling your measures.
Yes.
Cocktails are all about precise measures and balance, not lash it in and stir it with a biro.
So I mean,
what the West Country spoon?
That one.
but I mean, you know, we talked about the possible arrival of spring, and I think last time it must have been last time we spoke. I was drinking Rich Prideaux's beech leaf liqueur.
Yes.
Now we haven't got any beech leaves yet, but I am gearing up to go beech leaf foraging. And you cannot say the word foraging, and I know that this is quite basic when it comes to the world of foraging, but I'm extremely excited about the imminent arrival of wild garlic, because I think it's almost impossible to collect too much. I've never made it through the year with any leftover. There's always a sort of a wild garlic hungry gap that starts sometime around midsummer, because it's so good for barbecues and that kind of stuff. So I'm very excited about that. Jake, do you do much foraging? You must have quite good foraging around you.
Do you know, I do my slows, and we've got brilliant blackberries on the stud. It's who can get out first. There is a few colleagues and neighbours. They're very good. They get out and pick pretty much every blackberry on the farm, but they're very good at making kind of blackberry crumbles for everyone. So it's a bit of a payback. Do I do as much as I should? No. But do I enjoy it when I do? And when you collect your slows, it's nice to do so. But I mean, the slows at branches, I think if we could get all of those slows off, we'd probably have enough to make 10 years worth of slow gin. There are so, and you know, when people talk about their hidden bush, you know, and that is, and by pain of you release that, I think there's enough there to supply half of East Anglia.
I want to do something with, this is coming up to quite a good time to do things with nettles as well.
Yes.
Which my kids are absolutely besotted with Cornish yarg, the cheese. And every time I tell them, that green stuff on the outside is nettles, they go, yuck, can I have some more? So I'm quite interested in seeing what can be done with nettles this year.
Maybe we should set ourselves a challenge.
Well, we have, Challenge Avian is coming to an end.
Yeah, so
yes, I've had my time.
George, how about you and the family?
Nettle beer.
Something nettly, George, we challenge you.
Well, I'm going to go away and I'm going to find a recipe that I like the look of.
Yeah, do.
And then I'll report back.
Can I be boring and mumsy and just say, if you're foraging, 2 rules: forage above dog cock leg height, And second, if you are not 100% sure of what you've picked, don't risk it. There's some real nasties out there. And I think particularly with wild garlic,
Yes.
I don't know the proper ones, but there are things that grow with it. I think Lords and Ladies grows with it.
Yeah.
So just be mindful of it. Don't ruin a good time.
Yes.
So with your 3 drinks there, Ave, are they, I think we all make sloe gin, and you try and leave it at least until the following shoot season before you tap into it.
Yes.
These spring foraging ones, are they a lot shorter time frames to make?
I can't wait. I can't wait. So the Gorse rum is about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The Avian is probably 3 to 5 months. And the pine soda is 3 days.
Oh, wow.
So, there's one thing actually on the slow picking, Jake, that we tried on the farm this year, which worked really, really well, was combined slow picking with dogging in. And we got a whole load of people out. We said we were going slow picking. And then we said, well, bring your dogs. And then we said, right, well, if you 3 go off around that loop of the farm, I'm sure there are some slows up there, and you lot go off around that way. And we had a fantastic dogging in day and also a bag of slows to boot.
The problem, I know what will happen when I invite my guys to come slow picking,
right?
Is they'll come back with no flipping slows and about 14 pegged birds. So
well, you're weeding out the weaklings, aren't you?
It's a very good idea. I like it.
So the other sort of this time of year, you're thinking about harvesting things from the wild. Now that we can no longer harvest game birds, I'm never quite sure how I feel about the word harvest for shooting things. It's always struck me as being a bit of a euphemism.
Doesn't it?
Well, just a bit of a euphemism as well. But this is properly harvesting stuff from the wild. This time of year, I always like to go and cut a few lengths of hazel and that sort of thing, and get them up in the rafters of the shed to dry. So, but this year, well, in fact, last year as well, I cut some holly, which I have always been told makes a fantastic beating stick.
Brilliant.
Because it's so solid that you don't get the sort of vibrations up it. This is what I've been told. The one I cut last year, I have now debarked and sanded and sanded and sanded and sanded, and I've it's quite difficult to find a thumbstick. So it's
quite difficult to find a straight bit of holly, so you've done well.
Well, that too. In that respect. But I've given it a sort of an ergonomic grip. And I've oiled it, and it looks absolutely stunning. So I now just need to find a brass ferrule to put on the bottom, and then I will have a new stick for next year, having left my old stick in a blackberry field in Norfolk. Do you not do the traditional
thing of using an old spent shotgun cartridge for the ferrule on the end?
I think it's too nice a bit of wood, if I'm honest. It's got a lovely bit of burl on it and all this sort of stuff. So I'm very excited about that. And so I went back to the same holly tree this year, and I've cut another 4 lengths, and they are sort of 12 feet long. So I'm hoping I might get a good number out of them. But it's one, I wrote that article on Scribehound a little while about just sticks in general, and I've always cut the odd thumbstick here and there, and I had a nice sort of antler-tipped one that I bought somewhere. But stick making is an incredibly enjoyable and therapeutic thing to do. I absolutely love it.
I think it's because it takes planning and time, doesn't it? I mean, you can, when you're working in the woods, you can spot a hazel whip or something that you think, come the winter, that one might be worth taking. And you can trim a few of the little whips around it so the bark doesn't get damaged in the wind. And then when you finally come and take the harvest of it, it's then got to go in the shed for a year or 2 to properly dry out, at which point it might crack and it might have a kink in it and it might not work. Then it's got to be steamed, and then you try and get it straight, and then it's got to be prepped and prepared, and then the fun bit, choosing the ferrule for it and a top and
experimenting with finishes and
absolutely. Tap Sam up for a bit of deer horn on the top.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. Very good idea. Very good.
Well, I've got an absolutely beautiful piece of hazel that is absolutely gun barrel straight. It's an inch thick at the top. It's a good solid bit.
Let me know the diameter of the top.
Yeah.
And what you want, then I can probably cut something to suit.
That would be fabulous.
There we go.
Yeah. Do you? I mean, you're sitting on a gold mine, Sam. You should be making sticks in the long, dark winter evenings.
I should.
Well, you've got nothing else to do as a farmer.
The antler's more valuable as dog chews, which is it still
True.
Almost frustrates me a little bit as I'm selling it. But I have got one currently. I started making one with a cast roe deer antler that I'd say I found. I didn't find it. Ruby found it and brought it to me, and I said, hey, "You're not having that. I'm having that." But I put that on a bit of hazel, and then I think I rushed it all because then it carried on drying out and ended up at about a 45-degree angle. So it's now cable tied to an old piece of handrail on a radiator in the hope that it straightens it out. I don't know if that's going to work or not, to be honest. But
did you chaps have a look at Blair put in the All of the Garters shoot group? He's turned his hand to a. That looks amazing, doesn't it?
A proper old shepherd's crook,
crook, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that finishes. Very cool.
Well, oh gosh, I forgot. Yes, there was discussion of it. The next Order of the Garters shoot did the stick off.
Yes,
yeah,
that's ambitious, isn't it? Are we all that long term?
Well, I think for a penny.
I was sort of thinking, well, I better make a few to make sure I've got a really good one to enter.
Bloody right. You need a shed
I'm
full.
up for it. Yeah, definitely. Right. Okay, there we go. But I mean, yeah, definitely Blair's was really smart. Sam, I'm looking forward to seeing yours, buddy.
I saw there was a wonderful video I saw online, guy making sticks. I don't know if you come across him, the Irish guy, young lad who does a lot of woodwork and makes tools and things. Owen, that's right.
Owen Riordan.
And he had the most brilliant stick straightener, and it was just a piece of 4-inch tube, drain pipe, down pipe, and a wallpaper stripper
to steam it.
And he just bagged it on the end, and it makes a perfect steam tube. And then he just had, it's one of those things when people really know what they're doing, they use a piece of equipment that looks impossibly simple and really easy to use. So I'll probably end up taking my thumb off with it. But it was just like 2 pegs on a board, and he could put the stick in and just turn it and straighten it and twist it. So I'd probably end up with something that resembled a pool noodle, but he was making the straightest sticks.
I feel a bit funny about that. I think if you cut a wonky bit, you should have a wonky stick.
Yeah.
Now, that only works, like, if you need the stick for support, then you need a straight one. But if it's largely decorative, I think having a bit of a kink, it makes quite a nice sort of feature to a stick, really.
I mean, talking of kinks and sticks, George.
The other thing is, this is the thing about this is this post-rationalizing my laziness?
Or, if we're talking about sticks and kinks, with your brand new twirly moustache, do you not need a Malacca cane with a silver top?
Well, we're talking about spring. There's that talking about the joys of spring. There is a Jeeves and Wooster quote. Bertie Wooster wakes up one morning and Jeeves tells him that the weather is very clement, sir. And Bertie says, bring me my green Homburg and my yellowest shoes and the wangie. I'm going to the park to do pastoral dances. Which is always very good.
Good.
Yeah. So, Avian, you obviously have made a lot of sticks in your time, it sounds like.
I've got a lot of sticks in the shed, which are work in progress. I think I've only ever made 2. I'm great at the ideas, not so great at the finishing. But I've got a couple I'm working on at the moment that are a bit of an idea. So last year, when we were doing some work down at the farm, I came across one of those wonderful old bits of hazel that had clematis round it, and it had that almost ram's horn twist beautiful. In it, and it was just the great where it had grown over. It was sort of like big bulbous ridges, and it twisted around perfectly. I've got it in my elephant's foot stick bucket at the moment, but it's rotted to the bone.
Oh no!
Utterly useless as a stick, but it's absolutely fantastic. So what I've done as an experiment, and I don't know if this is going to work, and I was kind of inspired by the guys who grow chairs out of trees. They don't make them; they grow the trees and graft them, so they just trim a chair out of it. Absolutely brilliant. But I found a couple of absolute ruler straight branches on some of the hazels, and I have started wrapping wire around them as they're growing. And I've got one with copper wire, one with brass wire, and one with stainless steel wire. So hopefully, when they come to harvest, they'll have grown around the wire, but will still have that brass or copper wire embedded in it. And I don't know.
That's such a good
See
idea.
if it works.
Yeah,
Almost like bonsai stick making.
Yeah, kind of. So it doesn't change the straightness of the stick, but it's then twisted in, but it's grown into the wood.
Yeah.
So you've kind of got inlay of brass.
So you might actually be able to get the brass sort of showing through, you think?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
The idea.
So it puts me in mind of two things. This one, at where I was at school, next to the second 11 cricket pitch, there was an old oak tree that had eaten a bench. You know, people like to put a bench all the way round the outside of a tree,
yes,
a circular bench. This bench had obviously been there a very long time, and over the course of many, I guess, centuries, this tree had eaten the entire bench, and there was just a couple of bits of jagged bench poking out the side of the tree.
Brilliant.
And then the other thing it puts me in mind of is I saw a video of a guy, I guess in the States, who had something that he referred to as a tool orchard.
Right.
So instead of making new handles for his hammer or his axe or whatever, he obviously has a stash of axe heads and hammer heads and what have you. And he just finds a suitable tree trunk, sapling, drops the head of the implement over the top, and just waits for the tree to grow to an appropriate size so that and then cuts it down.
I mean, that is a slower pace of life, isn't it? And that's brilliant because, if ever you've got a hammer or an axe or something, you'll always go at the top where you try to splice it in and put splints and what have you. But if it's grown round it and you've got a nice proper knobby end, that's not coming off in a hurry, is it?
That's some serious forward thinking.
That bloody is. I like that.
I need an axe in about 8 years' time, so I'll start now.
I quite like the phrase "tool orchard" as well. I think that's quite good.
Yeah.
Well, that was all very interesting. Did you think we should probably talk about field sports a bit?
Yes,
maybe.
Of course.
Good. Okay. Well, I thought we'd have a chat about deer because they've been in the news. The government, as I'm sure most people listening will be aware, the government published a new policy statement called Managing the Impacts of Wild Deer in England. And there's been quite a lot of chatter about it because there's stuff in there about making it easier to get night licenses. And basically what it is, they want more deer shot because trees and what have you. I don't think we're going to go into too much detail debating the points of it because other better qualified people have done so. If you want to read the details of it, there's quite a good summary and explanation of the big changes on the British Deer Society's web. But I think something that we can talk about with some authority is the market for venison, because I think one of the big issues, the sort of structural issues, as it were, that has been around for quite a long time is that the government says, please shoot more deer, and the deer stalkers say, but it's not worth anything. Nobody wants it.
Yes.
Why should I go out and shoot them? It's a complete waste of my time and effort. But there have been a few interesting developments on that front in the last week as well. So today, I received a press release from Louisa, friend of the show, formerly of Eat Wild and now working for a company called Lean and Wild. And this was announcing a major contract with the Ministry of Defence to get the venison that's shot on MOD land, of which there is a lot, and therefore I imagine a lot of deer, is going to go on the defence menu. So I guess that's in the messes and what have you. which is very good news, I think. And I actually heard Louisa on the radio, I think on Times Radio earlier this week as well. I saw she shared a clip. She was talking on there about the many benefits of venison, the health benefits, and the fact that it's now cheaper than beef and it's more carbon friendly than beef, and so on and so forth. So I thought that was very good. But then, and again, I think this was in the papers today. I wonder how many of our listeners will be familiar with the Shambhala Music Festival. I'm going to hazard a guess and say not very many.
I'm going to go one further and say if you do know what Shambhala is, you're on the wrong podcast.
We're a broad church, Jake.
Well, I was going to say, because funnily enough, I actually know a few people who play gigs there every year. Mm-hmm. But it is at the hippier end of the music scale spectrum, which is already quite a hippie spectrum in and of itself. And this one is so hippie that, and I hadn't realized this, that it is a meat-free music festival.
So this is proper tofu knitting, is it?
Exactly, yes. However,
is it marketed as a meat? Is the meat-free festival bit its headline bit, or is it's a festival that
is meat-free? Exactly. Right. Yeah. So I guess it's a marketing gimmick. I'm sure they very firmly believe they're doing the right thing. I think it's unfair to call it a marketing gimmick, but it's not. It's not like it's a vegetarian festival with music. It's a music festival with vegetarians. But they issued a statement on their website and an announcement on their social media, which I've copied and pasted into our script here. So Avian, would you do the honors on the statement? It's quite long, but I think it's interesting to read.
Absolutely. So here's the statement from the website. Since 2016, we've proudly served up a festival free from meat and fish. We did it to spark a conversation and to show that what we eat has consequences far beyond our plates, on the climate, on ecosystems, and on communities around the globe. And it worked. The debate flourished, habits shifted, and many of us discovered that plant-powered feasts can be every bit as delicious and satisfying. And environmentally, it's been a total winner. Only 6% of our festival emissions now come from food, compared to 21% at the average music festival in the UK. But 10 years on, the world is not static, and neither do we intend to be. The ecological story unfolding in the UK demands our attention. Deer numbers are at record highs, munching their way through meadows, woodlands and wetlands, stripping back biodiversity, stalling forest regeneration, and squeezing out countless native species. With no natural predators left in our landscapes, the balance is broken, and our ecosystems are suffering for it. So, here's the twist. What if eating local wild venison is actually one of the most sustainable food choices we could make? Unlike industrial meat production, deer in the UK aren't farmed, fed on imported soy, or transported across continents. They are wild, abundant, and most crucially, their overpopulation is a serious driver of biodiversity loss. The UK is described as one of the most nature-depleted countries on Earth based on long-term species trends. Reducing their numbers helps nature recover. Eating venison closes the loop, turning a problem into nourishment and restoring balance in the process. Reintroducing meat at Shambhala, but only in the form of wild UK venison, would be a deliberate provocation, an invitation to question our assumptions and reinvigorate the whole conversation about what sustainable eating looks like today in the UK. So, this year, alongside our glorious vegetarian and plant-based banquets, we are considering serving up one carefully considered meat option. Wild British venison, a dish not of industrial destruction but of ecological repair. Should our community decide to give this a go, we'd be looking to introduce one wild venison trader at Shambhala, serving only venison that has been culled as part of biodiversity protection efforts. A percentage of the traders' profits would be donated to supporting biodiversity initiatives. We'd also look to have a talk and workshops on the topic of UK's deer issue, hosted on site to dive deeper into this topic. We know that around a third of our audience are vegetarian or vegan. We also know that for many of our community, the ethics of choosing a meat-free lifestyle go far beyond environmental considerations. We appreciate the fact that every trader at Shambhala is fully meat-free, may be of a huge importance to you, and we don't want to overlook or minimize this. So, in true Shambhala tradition, we want to put this decision in your hands. Fill in the form below to give us a yes or a no, and, if you wish, to expand upon your thoughts.
So I think I could not have written a better case myself for...
I don't like the fact that the venison trader has to give some of his profits to supporting biodiversity while the others don't. It seems a bit backwards.
It does a bit, but I think their argument is absolutely rock solid.
I agree with you there, George. I really, really do. And I hope that they look as the sole trader at Eat Wild and they bring Hugo in as well. There isn't two better people as Leon Challenge Davis and Hugo right now. I know there's a lot of wild game chefs out there, but people that know how to talk to people, Eat Wild is spot on here, and maybe bring the Country Food Trust in as well.
Well, that's a very good idea. That's a fantastic idea. But I just think, in some ways, I'm slightly fed up about how good that statement is.
Yes.
Because they have, in 400 words, or whatever that is, absolutely crystallized the argument in favor of eating wild venison. And there was a phrase in there that I thought was absolutely brilliant, which was, let me find it again. Where is it? Well, I like what if eating local wild venison is actually one of the most sustainable food choices we could make?
Yes.
I think that's the answer is it is. End of. Yeah. And then the other one, a dish not of industrial destruction, but of ecological repair. So I've decided that when we have venison chili on Monday night, as is the plan in the family, I'm not going to tell them that we're having venison chili. I'm going to tell them we're having a dish of ecological repair.
I think the second half is great. I think the first half is basically painting modern farming as the enemy, which is... Because, again, the issue is they are talking to their own people. So whatever they write here, their audience will take on board. They may not agree with it, they may not like it, but they're being spoken to in that language. Whereas I think, if you like, I don't like the idea of our side of the fence, their side of the fence, but from the promoting game meat side of the fence, we are trying to convince people who don't want to listen to us.
You say
whereas
that
they are talking to their people, and I think the other slightly contentious bit is that they are basically compounding the problem and talking about the lie of commercial farming for meat and dairy is terrible, whereas what they're doing as vegans and vegetarians is this kind of halcyon wonderland that, and they're not, none of the people on that side are accepting the fact that a plant-based diet to feed everybody comes with its own set of very difficult environmental issues.
Yes, I think that is a very good point, that no diet is without ecological consequence.
Yeah,
agreed.
And I think we all have to admit that there are farming practices, particularly around meat, that are pretty bad. I think there is a huge difference between a totally grass-fed steak and one that has been raised on a feedlot or whatever.
But I think that doesn't that come down to that there are some very serious problems with cheap food.
Correct.
Yeah.
And equally with the ultra processed foods as well, which let's face it, a lot of the meat alternatives and all that sort of thing are not great. And that emphasis on fed on imported soy is quite funny. In the context of vegetarianism, admittedly, the volumes are very different.
Yeah,
let's be real, but it is still quite a funny thing to say.
But is this not an opportunity to spin it for conversation through and through? Like, instead of going, the bloody Shambhala, they're vegans, blah 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 blah. Have we not now got a really good opportunity to start with these guys saying, look, you're on the old wild venison here. Have you had a go with the pheasant? It's all produced here. There's a bigger, wider world that we can offer now. And all of a sudden the majority of the attendees to this festival are going to be the 5%, which will never get us.
That 1/3 of their audience that is vegan or vegetarian, I would imagine, are never going to be terribly pleased about this or even remotely interested.
You say, George, there have been quite a few bits recently about how the vegan movement as a movement is starting to view venison as acceptable anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, is that I sort of see this as not specifically that, but I see this as a bit of a maybe the first straws in the breeze of a wind of change.
Yes, I'd agree.
Yeah,
I think the very fact that a festival like Shambhala is saying something like this is really interesting.
It is.
And the fact that you have the MOD, who, let's face it, are not wilting lilies, are they?
Right.
And Shambhala are having this conversation suggests to me that some work is actually, and the efforts of people like Louisa and various others are starting to pay off. And that whole ecological argument is starting to land.
I think you're right. And I think I sat and watched the firearms consultation debate.
Oh yes, I watched that as well.
And I think, okay, take what you want from it, and let's not get lost down that rabbit hole. But I think, putting these pennies on pennies, I don't recall there being a single contrary position from anybody who spoke on the day. There was nobody in favour of the government's proposal. And what I thought, take aside what the arguments they were making were, what I thought was very encouraging was not only did the debate run for its full time, it wasn't hurriedly squashed and brushed aside. A number of people from cross-party stood up and said, I own a shotgun, I go shooting. I am in support of this. And that, with what's happening with Shambhala, with what the MOD are doing, it's kind of, it's de-monsterifying what we do, if that's even a word.
Yes, de-demonizing.
Thank you.
Sam, you're a venison trader, a deer farmer. What do you take from all of this?
So I'm actually, I think routes to market for venison are getting better. And I think it's primarily due to the attitude of not just deer stalkers, but the attitude of anybody within our community. I think they always want to better themselves. They want to be a better shot. They want to be more efficient. They want to be able to process what they do better and things like that. So what I've actually found with the farm venison, whereas I had a route to supermarkets,
yes,
primarily, that route to supermarkets now is opening up more and more with different qualifications people can do, different standards people can meet to wild venison, which, while I could look at it and go, that's a pain in the arse, and it is a bit. But fundamentally, I think it's good because there is no, I shoot myself in the foot here. There is no need for me to be farming red deer.
Yes,
because there are plenty of deer out there that need to end up on plates rather than being in the countryside. When I first started doing it, it was the case that there were certain supermarkets that would only take farmed deer because of the traceability. As traceability is improving with different things people shooting wild deer can do, it's making their routes to market better. They can do it cheaper. You know, I'm not going to lie, they haven't got to rent land or buy land and fence
Sure.
it and fertilize it and, you know, feed and stuff like that. They can go out, enjoy what they do, and all right, they're always going to complain they're not getting enough money for it. I
But
think
that's everything, isn't it?
probably
Yeah.
everything, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And for a lot of guys, that's not why they do it. You know, they're not
No.
doing it. There are people that do it commercially, but the majority of people that go out deer stalking are doing it primarily because they enjoy it and it puts food on their table. If they can create a route to market above and beyond that, because they're managing, say, 1,500, 2,000 acres, that's ideal.
Even if it just purchases their new rifle or their next vehicle or their next thermal,
it's scope or something like that. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing that's rumbling in the background of the news at the moment is apparently in the EU they're now starting to gently walk back from the banning of lead rifle ammunition.
Yes, I saw something about that as well. That's quite interesting.
And I think it's on the basis that they've worked out that for national security they can't because potentially there's going to be a big demand for military grade ammunition. Let's hope not. But if they convince all the factories to move to non-toxic and copper bullets, factories cannot then scale up quickly enough should the military across Europe be called upon.
Yeah.
So it's one of those that's quite interesting how politics at the end of the day trumps everything else.
Yeah.
And actually, just when you mentioned Europe and how different different countries deal with things. I know when we were in Czech Republic, we were talking to people, and it's run very differently. I know, but they'll have a permit to shoot deer on a certain area.
Yes,
and they're actually penalised if they don't shoot
That's
enough.
right. They were getting fined if they don't hit their quotas.
Well,
again, I think what's interesting with the deer management side is what's flipped from you cannot kill any animals, they're all sentient and we mustn't cause any harm at all, to, well, they're a problem, let's get rid of them.
Yeah.
And that sentiment that's been played on for so long has just been wiped to one side.
That is actually part of this new policy document, which is that if you're a triple SI or any of that sort of stuff, you will have to have a deer management plan, and they will check to see whether you are fulfilling the terms of that plan. And if you're not, you'll lose funding and all this kind of stuff, which is quite interesting. But, we were talking about the market and how it seems to be growing. One of the sort of possible dangers with all of this is everybody goes, oh, tremendous, we'll go out and shoot a whole load more deer. And then the arse drops out of the market altogether because there's a massive oversupply, which I know happens on a seasonal basis anyway. Particularly I think up in Scotland, the game dealers, at certain times of year find themselves absolutely overwhelmed, and then at other times of year they can't get hold of what they need. So I do think that needs careful thought and management about it. But I think the really important thing to come away from this, or at least this is the way I tend to look at these things, is we can talk about the potential pitfalls and the potential booby traps that we might be laying for ourselves. Ultimately, I see this whole week as having been an extremely positive one.
Here. Yes.
In terms of the way we think about deer and venison in this country. So I think hugely. I want people to go away with.
Hugely. But can I just also say that it's how we communicate this win of this week going forward. If all we see on Instagram is grallocked out venison carcasses, and people don't get that picture, they just hear it as bloodlust. We've got to communicate better with everyone and understand why we're doing it. It's food, it's respectful. Well done. I've got a very good friend, and he's very good on his Instagram about showing the from the moment of the stalk right through to the grallock. Is that necessarily, if that's seen by 50 million people, is that the message we need to be seeing? But so I don't think we should be cheering.
I mean, if you turn it around and just say, for me, this is the happy thin end of the wedge, that it's starting to normalize things. And I think if you go back to certainly my parents' generation, so for you lot, you young whippersnappers, you're probably your grandparents' generation, but the idea of going out for a curry was farcical, absolutely ludicrous. If food isn't boiled for 3 hours, we're not bloody eating it.
None of that foreign muck.
None of that foreign muck.
Yeah.
And now it's as normal as anything. And I think if the longer term approach can be the more that this is normalized, the more that it's acceptable, the more that it becomes what we do.
You're not wrong if you're prepared to listen to that. You are not wrong there, but I don't think we need to be seeing herds and herds of lines and lines of venison hanging in larders and shot and grallocked out and stuff like that.
How far you normalize
how we
it,
communicate,
because we all know what goes on. People who operate within our industry and community knows what goes on, and we accept that because we've dealt with it. But there are a lot of people that, while they may choose to eat venison because of ethical reasons or whatever, at the same time they probably still don't want to see it shot.
No. But then again, it goes back to the old adage: never see how your sausage is made.
Yes.
Oh yeah, 100%, and I agree with you there. But I've been looking on the Shambhala website. It's the 27th of August to the 30th, and I've had this. I reckon this is a win.
Are you getting your head of tattoos out? Are you going?
Say. No. I know what you're going to say. Order the glasses to send. I'm up for that.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw this out there. So I know that we could probably push the Eat Wild and Game Glutton to be out there serving the food 100%. How about challenge Country Slide to the 7 of us go and be the voices for 3 days on venison?
George might be on his grouse day finally.
I'm just gonna have. I think I'm just gonna have a quick look at the lineup. See who's playing.
It's no one we know.
Well, speak for yourself.
After reading
Holly
the comments on the Facebook post, I'm not sure I want to go.
Oh, is it not for you, Sam?
We'd fly the flag, lads.
We would fly the flag, but
listen. I think if it goes through, I think we should go.
I think we should go. I genuinely think we should go. We just got to. Could you imagine Negus there?
Oh, there's some decent acts on. There's some decent acts on this lineup, you know.
Is there?
Yeah.
I think
where is it? Where is it? Because obviously it's going to be 5.5 hours from my house, wherever the hell it is, even if it's just down the road.
A pint of milk for you is 5.5 hours, Ave.
Bloody right, mate.
Where is it?
Festival info, camping and facilities. I mean, how much? It would be spot on, wouldn't it? You think Travel. 9 of us, including Hugo and Leon.
It's only in Northamptonshire.
No, it's fine. It's 5.5 hours for you, Ave.
5.5 hours for me.
Sam, it's 4 for you.
Yeah.
Do I have to bring my own yogurt sandals to wear in the yurt?
It says you can cycle there.
It's a bank holiday weekend, and so we're all going to be
the roads will be quiet.
Yeah, lovely.
Relatively
Getting
quiet.
in and out of Cornwall on a bank holiday, breeze.
You'll be doing the reverse.
So 7.5 hours.
Oh, there's actually some friends of mine are playing.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Do we get backstage passes then?
The big band of Boom.
We'll have to go VIP in that.
Anyway, listen, chaps, we've enjoyed. We've already overrun our time, but I wanted to while we were chatting just then, I was thinking about somebody I was talking to recently was talking about. So there's 20 million pheasants shot every year, or give or take.
Not by us.
Not by us. But that there are. That's basically a day's worth of chicken. So if everybody ate pheasant for one day, we wouldn't have enough pheasant. And the same sort of applies with venison, right? There's 2 million deer in the UK. If everybody turned around and said, we're only going to eat venison today, we wouldn't have any deer left. So I think we also do need to just keep in mind, like, the scale of the problem is not actually vast.
Yeah.
So these little baby steps will make a huge difference.
Definitely.
Yep.
Anyway, before we go, we've got a couple of things to do. First of all, Avian, you have a grand day out for us, I think.
I do indeed. So, obviously, season's finished. Been looking around at what we could do, and I've come across, on Guns on Pegs, La Chasse des Rousseaux. It's hunting at Rousseau offers an unforgettable experience filled with tradition, excitement, and camaraderie. So it sounds right up our street. It's a driven wild boar hunt.
Ooh. So it's I've got the notes. It's £375 a gun. There are 15 pegs left, standing 30.
That was it.
Because that's how they do driven wild boar, isn't it? There's hundreds of you.
Yes.
And yeah, we've spoken about these guys before, I think, in another grand day out. I think they had a very good value driven pheasant day towards the back end of the season, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Now, it strikes me that that's incredibly cheap. There must be a trophy fee on, a carcass fee or something on top of that, don't you think? It doesn't say on the website that
They do it by tusk, do they?
Well,
I don't know. The only one I've ever been on in France, they did it by age and weight.
So it must have cost you a fortune.
No, I hit an ash tree, which I was very glad they didn't make me take home. No, so I mean, the very convoluted way of doing it, I think, anything under a certain kilo, young males, filly boots. Females had a trophy fee up to about 100 kilos. Anything over that was fined. And then the large keelers and the large sows, they were fined. And you also got fined if you shot a sow that had embryo piglets inside. You got fined for each embryo. So it's all laid out. So I think you'd need to find a bit more detail. But again, it wasn't that expensive. But obviously, you takes your chances. If there are 30 guns in a bag of 15, it's covering a massive area. They did say how big the estate was, didn't they? 315 hectares. So you have to take the chance there that you may not
even see one.
Get the opportunity for a shot. You may not see one. But I haven't been to this particular estate, but having done it once in this format, where I think what they tend to do is put the guns in a ring and the beaters move out from the centre. It's a hell of an experience. And we went across on the channel, on the tunnel, and for 375 quid for a gun, you can kind of be there the evening before, shoot, quick night in a travel lodge or whatever, and back again. That's a damn good way to break the February blues, isn't it?
I've not shot driven wild boar, and you explained
neither
the
have
fines
I.
there. Have you? No, but you've tried. Have you got time to make a decision about which one you take, or do you take them and then it's revealed?
That's an interesting question. I'm trying to think back to when I went. I mean, first of all, we had to stop at one of the wonderful French sporting supermarkets, and you all buy one of those little fold-up three-legged stools, because you could be sat there for hours and hours and hours with nothing going on. And they put you on a stand. We weren't up in the high seats. We were just sat on the ground. So you got your little stool facing this wall of brush in front of you. And your arc of fire is 45 degrees directly behind you. So basically the animal's got to run past you with its anger and fury and husky face. And all the rest of it. So yeah, I guess you certainly would have, a bit like if you're shooting pheasant, you only get that couple of seconds to decide, is it a pheasant or a woodpecker? Is it a white bird or a hen bird or a cockbird? So yeah, you've got time to make your decision.
Yeah.
The only one I had a shot at was a fallow deer, and I shot an ash tree as it ran behind it. So whether you've got the talent to execute your decision is perhaps a different thing.
Yes. So have you said what date this opportunity is?
13th
I think it's
of March.
13th of March, yeah. So that is on Guns on Pegs. Search out La Chasse des Rousseaux, or it's pretty high up the list of wild boar opportunities. I'm sure you'll find it. Good. So that's a really nice one, and it's nice to have a bit of variety in there as well. Right. Before we go then, any other business?
Yes.
Oh, that sounded certain.
Absolutely. So some of us have been pounding the pavements since December. And it's not us four here getting ready for the London Marathon, I can assure you.
I thought you'd become a CPSO or something there for a moment.
But Guns on Pegs' very own Gemma Raymond and one of our own Order of the Garters member, Mr. Dogs on Pegs himself, are running the London Marathon on the 26th of April, chaps.
Bloody
and
good
so
on them.
I am really excited for this one because I'm going to put it out there that we have a support station somewhere en route that the Guns on Pegs podcast, the Order of the Garters, fly our flags, make some noise, and cheer the 40,000 runners, of which 2, maybe more that we don't know about, are going to be running London. So if you're running the London Marathon, you're a listener, you don't have to be an Order of the Garter member. If you're running, get in touch, pod@gunsonpegs.com, and we're going to cheer you. I'm coming. George, I think you mentioned you're coming with the children. We're taking the Wolf family down.
Certainly give it a go.
So we will, the next time we record, we'll find a mile marker to stand near, and we'll let you all know where we're going to be. We'll have some music. I'm thinking somewhere on the embankment. It's going to be busy.
Is there a do they run past the pub where you can sit outside?
Oh, there's lots of pubs they run past. Yeah,
There's
not
lots
a problem
of pubs,
there.
you just won't be able to get into them and everything like that. But so this is throwing it out to everyone, all our listeners. We will give you more details of where we're going to stand as be a support crew to Gemma and Mr. Dogs on Pegs himself. Anyone else that's also running, please get in touch. I mean, boys, you're going to come up from the west, from your neck of the woods and
I
train
will certainly give it a damn good try. I mean, I have watched the marathon before, and it's left me utterly convinced that I couldn't do it by bus, let alone on foot. So, my all power to their ankles. I will do my very best to come up, and I think if we can post a little note on there for some donation pages, because I think our very own Gemma is running in aid of the Countryside Alliance.
She is, yeah.
Yeah, she is. And
I've run a bit of the London Marathon.
Yeah, well, I've run across London Bridge for a bus once. Does that count?
Well, I've actually, during the marathon. So I used to live
you just hopped over and joined
in Deptford. And when I was coming back from Hampshire of a weekend and had forgotten that and this happened on more than one occasion, had forgotten that the marathon was on. The main road that I had to cross to get from the station to my flat was the route of the London Marathon. And the only way to get home was to briefly join the marathon.
Fantastic. I love that.
Hop over the fence, sort of get swept along in the tide and sort of swim my way to the other side of the road through all these runs.
There's not many people running that you have to work out where you hop over knowing you're technically going to go upstream a little.
Yeah, exactly.
It was you that I spoke to when I ran it, and you said, "Oh, I shouldn't be here at all." And I've run it. I love it. I've tried for 17 years to get into the ballot. Haven't ever got in. I reckon, with the W's, I'm way down there to getting picked. But I've run it once for East Anglian Children's Hospice back in 2019, and I think it's an amicable achievement that anyone that takes it on, Gemma, Sheldon, guys, all the 40,000 runners, another 2026. This is going to be really, really good. We're going to make some noise, and we're going to support all of you that are running, and R2, and anyone else that listens to this podcast. But we'll let you know where we're going to be. I'm really up for it. It's going to be so much fun.
So Jake, showing my ignorance, when is it?
Ave, it is the 26th of April, Sunday the 26th of April.
Brilliant.
Well, I was going to say, we've got to get the Order of the Garter's flags on the telly.
Oh, yes. That's a good spring mission.
That would be very good.
And are Gemma and Mr. Dogs on Pegs himself going to be running wearing garters?
Oh, challenge.
Ooh.
Now, that is a good idea.
Challenge Dogs on Pegs.
They can wear them around the forehead, can't they?
Absolutely. George, I think you better authorise delivery of Gemma's garters then.
Yeah.
It's fully done, taken care of.
Good. Well done.
Right, chaps. Well, that was all very interesting and fun. Thank you very much indeed.
It was brilliant, guys. Wonderful to catch up with you all. Wonderful to talk about everything that's going on. So, book your holidays for Shambhala Festival.
See you there. See you in a field somewhere. Yeah, very good. Right, so before we go, all that remains for me to say is there's a final reminder that you can get your hands on a pair of the very exclusive Guns on Pegs podcast shooting sock garters by sending us your shooting dilemmas for us to resolve, or by sending us your unpopular opinions, or sharing your forgotten drives, or your podcast suggestions, or any of that sort of thing. Just drop us an email to pod@gunsonpegs.com, and if we read it out in the next episode or any future episodes, we will send you some garters. But that's our show for today. Please do keep sending in your follow-up thoughts. Chris and I will be back next week with perhaps our most special guest ever. We recorded it earlier this week, and it was fantastic. I'm very excited about it. Do not miss it. Not that you can. It's a podcast. It's available forever. But listen to it straight away is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Until then, thanks very much for listening, and goodbye.